What's a key moment in public policy history that changed the lives of women?
Well, I have to answer that question in terms of my own country. I'm a national of both South Africa and the United States and call both of these countries my home. I'm very, very proud of my South African country and this Constitution. One of my favorite parts of the Constitution, of course, is Chapter 2, which is the South African version of the Bill of Rights. And in this part of the Constitution, a decision was made, a policy decision was made, that instead of, as you can imagine, adhering rights to the people who are citizens of the country, the choice was made by people who were citizens of the country that we should think of rights as attaching to people who have made South Africa their home rather than to people that are citizens. And so the housing right, the healthcare right, children's rights, education rights, all of these rights are cast with the very first word of the right being everyone. That's a big policy decision that has had such an impact for the good for women. And one of the things that I just spent so much time really being proud of for my country is that in 2004, a justice of the Constitutional Court, one of the women who has made the greatest impact on the country of South Africa and of women all over the African continent, given the work she did around the continent, and her name is Yvonne Mahoro. And she was the justice who decided the meaning of the words everyone in a case called the Khosa case from 2004. And I'm just going to read a quick excerpt. She says that the language in section 27(1)(c), that's how lawyers talk, should be read, and she puts it this way, literally, meaning that permanent residents are bearers of the right to Social Security. The exclusion of permanent residents from the welfare system is offensive to human dignity of those excluded. And finally, the decision is meant to ensure that vulnerable people do not have to live on the fringes of society simply because they are foreigners. This is such an important basis for so many things that came afterwards. One of the things we don't understand enough about history is made by people who need the world to change. The way it is not okay. And so many of the people I work with as a human rights lawyer are the ones who have to have the bravery to come forward and say these rights that are nicely situated on paper, it's one thing, in reality, it's another. And so in 2023, in the shadow of this beautiful landmark case, a number of women came together and said, our experience has just been absolutely terrible as we've gone to clinics and hospitals in our hour of need, when we're getting ready to give birth, when we're having to get prenatal care, when we have children who really need help in their first 5 years of life. We'll go to these clinics, we'll go to these hospitals. The Constitution says that they must care for us, but they don't. They ask for fees in advance. They ask for documentation as to who we are. The huge gap between what the Constitution says and what the world is offering us is one that we want to close, that we are going to step forward as people who make claims on this Constitution. And so with the help of Section 27, an organization that was named after the section of the Constitution that made this promise, a number of women were able to go before another judge who, in the aura of the Khosa decision made by Yvonne Mahoro, was able to announce that henceforth, all over the country, not just in the clinics in Johannesburg and Durban and Cape Town, there would be a poster on the wall that would essentially say what the Constitution says, but easier to point to. That if you're a woman, a pregnant woman, a woman lactating, and if you have children under 6, you are entitled to free care. And that has changed the world, the reality of so many women in South Africa. 6.5 million of our inhabitants in South Africa are migrants, and some 19 million people use the healthcare services. So a word choice in the Constitution, a policy decision actually codified in the Constitution, has now been given meaning, and now is an example of how that policy choice can come to make a difference for so many women years down the road.